They rarely celebrate your wins. Even if you're excited, they'll stay quiet or act indifferent. They subtly downplay your achievements. It's not a big deal, or anyone could have done that. They compete instead of support. If you succeed, they suddenly try to one-up you. They talk behind your back, especially to mutual friends, to damage your image. They copy you, then try to outshine you. Style, interests, or achievements. They make passive-aggressive comments, disguised as jokes or just being honest. They don't give you credit, even when you help them or inspire something they do. They only show support publicly, but criticize you in private. They disappear when you're doing well, but show up when you're struggling. They secretly enjoy your failures and may subtly encourage self-doubt. Communication patterns. They constantly bring the conversation back to themselves. They interrupt your moments to shift focus on their own life. They make everything feel like a competition, even the small stuff. They ask intrusive questions just to compare themselves to you. They correct you publicly to make you look less competent. They tell others you've changed, often as a negative thing. They give backhanded compliments. You're smart for someone like you. They act extra sweet when others are watching, but cold when alone. They often use sarcasm to belittle your efforts. They mimic your words or phrases to mock you, not to bond. Mental and emotional clues. They feel threatened by your growth, even if it doesn't affect them. They secretly believe you don't deserve your success. They want to be close to you only to monitor your progress. They can't admit when you're doing better than them, even temporarily. They may cheer for strangers more than they cheer for you. They're more focused on not falling behind than on your happiness. Facts about jealous friends, with logic and understanding. A jealous friend doesn't always hate you. They hate that it's you living the life they wish was theirs. They'll support you in public but question you in private. Jealousy hides best behind compliments. "Wow, you're lucky," is often code for, "That should be me." When you tell them good news, their silence is louder than their words. They secretly compare your progress to theirs, even when you never asked for competition. Jealous friends study you not to learn, but to copy without credit. They will laugh when you fall, then pretend to help you up so you don't notice their smile. True friends celebrate your wins. Jealous ones calculate them. They want to know your every move because information is their weapon of envy. They often give advice that limits you, not lifts you, disguised as, "I'm just being honest." They act cold when you achieve something big because your success mirrors their stagnation. They bring up your past to dim your present. You'll notice they compete for attention when you enter a room. Jealousy is emotional insecurity trying to wear the mask of friendship. Their jokes about you usually have truth dipped in poison. They'll only support you if your success benefits them. Jealous friends are emotionally allergic to your happiness. They'll copy your ideas but never mention your name. Their constructive criticism often comes when you're doing great, not when you're lost. They downplay your effort by calling your success luck. They want you close, not because they love you, but because distance exposes them. A jealous friend remembers every detail of your flaws, but forgets every act of kindness. They'll befriend your enemies just to have access to your weakness. When you're struggling, they feel safe. When you're rising, they feel threatened. They compete silently, but resentment grows loudly. Their compliments sound forced, their laughter delayed, and their eyes restless when you win. They'll mimic your personality until they start to believe they are you. Their energy feels heavy after every interaction. That's their envy leaking through. You'll feel drained because jealousy feeds off your light. They confuse your confidence for arrogance because they lack self-worth. They secretly test your limits, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, to see if you'll break. When you grow, you force them to face their lack of growth. That's why they act distant. Jealousy is admiration mixed with frustration. They want what you have, but not the work it took to get it. They're your biggest fan in private, but your biggest critic in secret. They never truly clap for you because they're too busy measuring your applause. A jealous friend will push your buttons until you look like the problem. Their loyalty depends on who's watching, They use your vulnerabilities as their revenge weapon. They'll remind you of your failures just to balance your success. If you stop sharing your wins, they suddenly act more peaceful because your silence doesn't threaten them. Jealousy disguised as friendship is spiritual sabotage. The more you elevate, the more they expose themselves through subtle disrespect. A jealous friend doesn't just envy what you have, they envy who you are. When your peace starts irritating them, that's your sign to walk away. Jealousy among friends is not about hatred. It's about reflection. Your growth mirrors their stagnation. Your light exposes their shadow. They want your results, but not your sacrifice. Logically, envy forms when emotional insecurity meets comparison, when someone measures their worth through someone else's timeline. They pretend to love you because losing access to your energy would remind them how empty theirs is. They act supportive because open jealousy would reveal their weakness. And deep down, they crave your peace, not your possessions. Because inner stability is the rarest currency. Understanding the solution: to protect your peace, observe more, speak less, share less, especially your plans. Let silence reveal loyalty. Don't try to fix their jealousy. It's not your illness to cure. And most of all, keep shining, because real light exposes fake friendship. Why jealousy exists. The logic behind the emotion. Jealousy exists because humans are wired to compare, and comparison was once a tool for survival. In early evolution, humans needed to assess who was stronger, faster, or more resourceful to stay alive. That instinct didn't disappear. It simply evolved into a psychological reflex in modern society. Now, instead of comparing strength or food, we compare success, appearance, love, and validation. The psychological core. Jealousy comes from insecurity and fear of loss. It's the emotional signal that says, someone else has what I desire, but believe I cannot achieve. That belief creates tension between admiration and resentment, the two emotional roots of jealousy. In short, admiration says, I like what you have. Resentment whispers, I hate that it's not mine. Jealousy is those two voices fighting inside one mind, the emotional logic. At its core, jealousy isn't about the person being envied. It's about the insecure self doing the envying. When someone feels less capable, less attractive, or less successful, seeing another person win reminds them of their own lack. It's not your glow that hurts them. It's their shadow reacting to your light. Jealousy thrives where self-awareness is missing and self-worth is low. It feeds off comparison, social media, and the illusion that happiness is something visible rather than internal. The social conditioning side. Society teaches people to measure themselves through others. We grow up in systems built on rankings, grades, status, wealth, looks, followers. By the time we reach adulthood, comparison becomes an unconscious reflex. So when someone around you is doing better, the brain, conditioned by years of societal measurement, triggers the fear of being less. That fear transforms into jealousy, and jealousy becomes hostility disguised as judgment or silence. The spiritual side. Jealousy exists because many people have not yet made peace with who they are. When the soul is unsettled, it tries to fill the emptiness by wanting what others have. But envy can never fill a void. It only deepens it. That's why jealous people often become bitter instead of better. They focus outward instead of inward. They chase shadows instead of building their own light. If we strip emotion away, jealousy is a biological reaction to perceived inequality, fueled by psychological insecurity and amplified by social comparison. It's not evil. It's human. But when left unchecked, it turns toxic, corroding friendships, love, and even one's peace of mind. The logical cure isn't revenge or confrontation. It's self-awareness. When a person learns to value themselves without measuring against others, jealousy dies naturally, because you can't envy someone when you're fulfilled by your own purpose.